What's the word, y'all? We're about to get into a video. This is I forgot her name, something with the T, but let's see, is it B with the T? Let's see, impressive. Yeah, she has a video, y'all. We're about to watch. Kendrick Lamar exposes Drake's darkest secrets. Drake says that Kendrick traumatized his wife. Anyway, watch the video. Meet me at the end. And on part of this compilation that I'm presenting to you guys, I don't own the content. It's just I put it together for y'all. These are some TikToks that are addressing Drake's reply. So let me know your thoughts, you guys. How I feel about it. It might be staged. It's a lot of true shit, but they're all creeps in that industry. So check out the video. Let me know your thoughts. Have a good one.
I mean, this is too much. This is way too much, and Kendrick is not to be played with. And I always knew he was a beast, but he's a whole boogeyman. Let's be real. Like, nobody should ever want to get into a rap battle with Kendrick because this man is the boogeyman for real. This man literally dropped 3 diss tracks back to back over the weekend, and Drake tried to respond, but he couldn't even let Drake have his moment. He has his foot on Drake's neck and he ain't letting up. It's getting to the point where it's dangerous. These two should never be in the same vicinity because there will be some bloodshed. And I definitely don't want that to happen. I don't want another major sacrifice of a big rapper. So I don't want that to happen, but things are getting sticky. And Kendrick is doing what I knew he would do. He was sitting on information about Drake, and Drake made the foolish decision to respond to him. And now Kung Fu Kenny is kicking the wind out of this man. It's really sad to watch, honestly. But if these allegations are true about Drake, he has way more to worry about than this rap battle with Kendrick. Because if accusers start coming out, then it's over for him, honestly. Now I'm going to briefly fill some people in who haven't been keeping up. Kendrick and Drake have been going at it for the past several weeks, and their feud really stems back 10 years, over 10 years. Kendrick wanted to stir up some friendly competition in hip hop, so he name dropped Drake and several of his other peers in his Control verse. And the rappers he named respected it, and some of them even responded. However, Drake was in his feelings about it. He was like the only one who seemed really pressed about it. And he's been taking shots and throwing subs at Kendrick ever since. Kendrick has also been throwing subs. I mean, the two of them have been going at it for a good 10 years now. And they've also been competing for that #1 spot in hip hop. But their feud ignited in a major way when Kendrick came at Drake in the song Like That in response to Drake and J. Cole's song First Person Shooter. And Like That is actually Future and the producer Metro Boomin song. And Metro Boomin has a serious issue with Drake. Some people think it's just a petty thing, but it's a lot deeper than people think. And he's not willing to say what it is just yet. But he did put Drake on blast for trying to block the Like That record from hitting radio, which kind of backs up what Kendrick said. Kendrick said that Drake was actually sending cease and desist to shut Like That down. And Drake lied about it and said he never sent a cease and desist, but actually he does that. He sends cease and desist behind the scenes to control things. So a lot of people in the industry don't like him. Metro Boomin especially doesn't like him, and he recruited Kendrick into this feud, and Kendrick was the perfect person to go head to head with Drake. Then Drake specifically, because he threw out a lot of serious accusations, okay? He said that Kendrick has been mistreating his baby mama, Whitney. This is what he said. "You, the Black Messiah, wifing up a mixed queen and hit vanilla cream to help out with your self-esteem. On some Bobby-ish, I want to know what Whitney need. All that puppy love was over in y'all late teens. Why you never hold your son and tell him say cheese? We could have let the kids out of this. Don't blame me. You a dog and you know it. You just play sweet. Your baby mama captions always screaming, save me. You did her dirty all your life. You trying to make peace." Now, Kendrick admitted to cheating on Whitney and not treating her the best in his last album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. And if you look at Whitney's page and read her captions, you could definitely see that she's been going through it. Drake also said that one of Kendrick's kids aren't his. He claims that Whitney had an affair and had a child with Kendrick's general manager, Dave Free. Now, what's interesting is when Whitney posted this picture of her and her kids, Dave Free commented and she loved his comment. And if you notice, she follows Dave Free, but she doesn't follow Kendrick. Now, people say that she and Kendrick never have followed each other, but I don't know. I do find it interesting that she doesn't even follow her own fiance. Drake then went on to accuse Kendrick of beating up his girlfriend. He said, when you put your hands on your girl, is it self-defense because she's bigger than you? Your back is up against the curb. You digging for dirt, should be digging for proof. Why did you move to New York? Is it because you live in that bachelor life? Proposed in 2015, but don't want to make her your actual wife. I'm guessing this wedding ain't happening, right? Because we know the girls that you actually like. There's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to hide. You know what I mean? They hired a crisis manager team to clean up the fact that you beat on your queen. The picture you painted ain't what it seemed. You're dead. This is heavy. This is very heavy. And we don't know if any of this is really true. But 10 years ago, it was rumored that Kendrick put his hands on a woman.
Media Takeout's reporting that Kendrick Lamar beat a woman up in Vegas last weekend and left her badly injured in a hotel room. That incident is under investigation.
When they said you were in Vegas and you beat some guy bloody and you did something to some female, and they said they had evidence and all of this, and then I never heard anything about it again.
Yeah, because it's foolishness. And, you know, that person, whoever made that up, owes an apology. Not to me, but to women that actually go out there and get abused. You dig what I'm saying? That's a real issue. And
because I was like, I'm sure if that happened, they'd have been in police report. You would have been arrested.
That's foolishness. That's ignorant.
Now, a lot of people don't really believe that Kendrick put his hands on his girlfriend Whitney, but they definitely been through some things in their relationship. So
apparently there's more pictures I want to show you guys because like it's pretty legit. So this was the first picture. Now, as you can see in this other picture, that's Drake, bro. That's Drake. That's Drake's son. That's Drake's child, bro. And we know it's not a girl. You know what I mean? Because you're going to see the next post. Happy B-Day to my little cuz. And it says, turn up, Lil Drizzy. That's Drake, bro. Now, this is the kid who looks exactly like Drake. And this was about, what, 10, 11 years? It says 2014. So that lines up. Other people saying, oh, the 11-year-old line bar was a loaded, bar about the girl Bobby from Stranger Things. That was a good analysis. But if the daughter doesn't exist, maybe it's the son that exists. Maybe there's more than one, who knows?
Now, everything I'm about to tell you is 100% true, and this information came to me from one of the crew members on Drake's tour. This was the guy who did all the tech stuff, and he told me that Drake has an employee whose job is to go around town looking for super hot girls. He finds the girls and then he interviews them, and out of all the girls he interviews, he picks the one that he thinks is the best. Then he drives her to Drake's place. Drake has sex with her, and then he drives her home. So basically, Drake has his own private Tinder.
So he has his own personal Tinder. That's why Kendrick said in his lyric, they be streamlining victims all inside their home and calling them tender. It gets deep. It gets deeper than this. Now, if you look at the cover art for Meet the Grams, you'll see that it includes Drake's Zolpidem pills and his Ozempic pills, allegedly. Now, Drake was accusing Rick Ross of using Ozempic, but they're saying that Drake was also on Ozempic. Also, there were receipts, including a receipt for the jewelry that Drake bought. In Drake's video for Family Matters, he was flaunting this ring around, and people thought that it was actually Kendrick Lamar's fiance, Whitney's ring. He dropped another diss song called Not Like Us, and this time he flat out called Drake a PDF. I'm not going to say the word, but y'all get the drift. He called him a predator. And not only that, he put a DJ Mustard beat to it so people can dance to, because he knows that's going to hook the people. So now people are dancing to Drake being called a freaky old man. He called him the 69 God instead of the 6 God. Drake calls himself the 6th God because he's from the 6. The 6 is also known as Toronto. So he calls himself the 6th God, but Kendrick is like, no, you're the 69 God because you're into some freak nasty stuff. Y'all get into these lyrics. Kendrick said, say Drake, I hear you like them young. You better not ever go to cell block 1. To any B that talk to him and they in love, just make sure you hide your little sister from him. They tell me Chubb's the only one that gets your hand-me-downs. So Chubbs is one of Drake's affiliates, and apparently he's sharing some of these youngins that Drake deals with too, allegedly. He also said, and party at the party playing with his nose now. So he's accusing one of Drake's artists, Party Next Door, of being on the powder. Also, he said, and Baca got a weird case. Why is he around? Now, Baca is a longtime affiliate of Drake's, and he actually was arrested for trafficking, but Drake signed him to OVO. Then Kendrick said, certified lover boy, certified PDF files. I'm not going to say the word, but it's there. He also said, why you trolling like a bee? Ain't you tired trying to strike a chord? And it's probably A minor. So A minor is a musical chord. It's a musical key. And he's also said A minor. Y'all get it. That bar freaking gagged me. It gagged everybody.
Still, like, I don't know how I feel about that. I honestly don't believe that as well. At the same time, I honestly think Drake is going to force a Game 7 or at least a Game 5 down 3-1 with this track. But honestly, Drake should take some time and go back in the studio and cook something else up, because this isn't going to sway anybody's opinions, I don't think. I still think Kendrick Lamar is winning this thing.
I don't understand the planting of information per se, because he also noted that the people that Kendrick's camp is talking to are bozos or whatever the case is. And in that sense, it's like if you planted it and you meant to do it, then the agents that you had to plant it wouldn't necessarily be bozos. You know what I'm saying? Like those would be your mans who you've successfully accomplished a double cross with. So that is contradicting to me as far as what that is. And he's on the back step for sure. You know what I'm saying? Like now he's in the space of responding and kind of doing everything that Kendrick said he was doing, in the sense of like now he's not necessary. He still talked about himself in there a little bit, but he's now just making sure that it's like he's denying these things. You know what I'm saying? So he's definitely on the back foot. I think what he failed to do is that he also just used things that are not necessarily, we don't know if there's proof that he beats his wife or, you know, he's living with the kids. We don't know any of that either, but he's saying it's facts. And I think that you can't do the same thing that you're asking him for proof, and then you're like, nah, but what I'm saying is facts. That's like, you should show the proof up front. Like at this point in the game, Drake needs to just show the proof that it's like, yo, here's the assault report. Like facts. Like that's facts. I don't think what he's saying is actually, it's just, you know, he said, she said. And then his energy is also low in the joint. Like his energy, he tried to be serious, but it just feels like low energy, as opposed to, you know, what Kendrick has been doing, which is assassinating him in a way that has built up energy. So I don't know. I don't think Drake has it right now.
Why is Drake in his new diss track talking about, oh, this is great exercise, got the pen working, but he don't even write his own music? You trying to laugh that like Kendrick doing this is like, oh, haha, this is just some good exercise for me. No, you don't write. Like, what are you exercising, your vocals when you repeat what they wrote down for you? I'm confused. Like, it's like, I get it. You've had so many hits and everything. Like, I feel you. I'm not taking away from the hits that Drake has put out there, the things he's done. But what I'm saying is Kendrick has been a better rapper. You're trying to go to toe with somebody who is out of your league, and it just doesn't work. And now you're putting low blows out that are just insane, to the depths of hell. The SA stuff, and then all the stuff he's trying to imply and then say, and then he's like, oh, well, if these things were happening, wouldn't so-and-so not be falling? So things like that. Like, you're trying to cast seeds of doubt. You're trying to say, oh, these things aren't true. The allegations that, you know, Kendrick is making about you are not true. You're saying he doesn't have any proof. He's so quick to say things and be messy. He doesn't have proof, and that y'all set this up, and y'all been setting this up, and you even almost made up a fake name, but this is stuff you planted for him to say about you. That doesn't make sense. Why would you give somebody ammo to completely annihilate you and make you look stupid? That doesn't make sense. This sounds like something that you would say if you got caught up in your mess and now you're trying to make it look like you didn't. You're trying to be like, oh, I planned that. He fell for that. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So, yeah, I'm like, wow. And it's just crazy that the back it up is happening. Back to back is happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is crazy. We haven't seen rap beef move like this. Like, this is insane. We're getting next day delivery, same day delivery, same hour delivery, like same 30-minute delivery at one point with Kendrick the other day. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is getting insane. So, whew, y'all. But let me know who y'all got in the comments.
What do these guys have against dropping at, I don't know, for like 5 p.m.? You know, something to chew on over dinner. It's Sunday. Come on, bro. First listen, I'm going to keep this analysis pretty short and big picture. First of all, beyond bar-for-bar wordplay, there's a lot less to analyze in Drake's responses than there is in Kendrick's responses. And I think that's indicative of a larger schism between the two of them, where, for instance, Drake's music, at its best, especially his rapping, sounds like a really well-made Rolex. Clearly, attention to detail, craftsmanship, a lot of skill put into it, and aesthetic value as well. But it's like, if you ask yourself what is the purpose of this Rolex watch, you're going to arrive at two conclusions. One, it's to mark the current moment, it's to mark time. And two, it's to be sold. It's like a commercial product that happens to have artistic value. Whereas Kendrick's music, especially over the course of this beef, has felt more like art that happens to have product and commercial value at times, and at other times isn't concerned with that at all. I think the analogy of the Rolex watch is really useful because it's kind of tied to these ideas of nationless class, jet setting, wealth where you have 5 passports and you're never going to jail, and you spend all your time in the parts of every city that look like every other city with the glass buildings and the cheesecake factories and the Saks Fifth and the Gucci store. And it's just like, you look at this watch and you're like, this is beautiful, but like, I have no idea where the fuck this is from. Whereas if there's a painting that's worth $1 million, maybe the commercial value of it's crazy, but it's still like, yeah, I know what style this is, I know all the history and the context. That's kind of how this last two set of songs feels for me between Drake and Kendrick. Again, this is just me keeping it to the mechanics of rap right now. I feel like technical skill gets you to a certain height. It's almost like technical skill is this process of building your own skyscraper or climbing the floors in a skyscraper, whichever you prefer. It's this long and arduous process of getting your 10,000 hours till you're at this skill level. But then when you get to the roof of the Empire State Building, the next step in the process is to jump off the building and go fly. And that's the kind of immaterial stuff I was talking about in another video. Because in another video, I was talking about the fact that Drake is a technically proficient rapper. He's very good at songwriting, and I think people don't want to give him this credit for that because they don't like him. I don't make that conflation. He's a really wonderful songwriter. Yeah, he has ghostwriters, but he also ghostwrites for hella people. That's his strength, songwriting. But I think his skill shines through in a very technical way. Whereas Kendrick has the technicality, he also has his 10,000 hours, but he has jumped off of the skyscraper. He went through the empirical stages and went to the qualitative stages, the feeling stages, the soul music stages. And that's a place that Drake thus far has shown us he struggles to go to. Maybe he can hover off the ground a little bit, and when he's on top of the Empire State Building, it looks even more impressive, but he's not really just soaring out there. And I think that's one of the areas where Kendrick can go in this beef that Drake can't. And I think that creates complications for Drake because he kind of has to double down on this tough gangster aesthetic. Like, because he has that emotional range, Kendrick can display that he takes what he's accusing Drake and his associates of very, very seriously, and then switch to making light of them in a way that doesn't feel like he's making light of the thing, he's making light of them. Drake doesn't have the emotional range to show that he takes the things he's talking about seriously. So when he makes this accusation that Kendrick was violent against Whitney, it just doubles down on the tone deafness and the enemies he's creating through all of these disses. Like, why did Malaysia catch a stray in this? Why did you bring Malaysian Airlines in? That was a travesty. Like, what? It just shows that he thinks the character he's playing isn't capacious enough for empathy and the range of emotions that all humans feel when it comes to talking about serious things. And so he doesn't display that, and it falls flat. Literally, the character he's portraying falls flat in this context, or rather the flatness of it is exposed. Also, based on how repetitive all the accusations are, it seems like he's out of dirt, which is a problem for him more so than it is for Kendrick, because it just feels super evident that he doesn't actually give a crap about the contents of the things he's claiming. It's just the fact that is something that can be weaponized against Kendrick and his camp. And while there are things hanging in the air on both sides, there's a lot hanging in the air in regards to Kendrick and the accused domestic violence against his wife, girlfriend, longtime partner, and the accusations from Kendrick against Drake. There's a lot more evidence on Kendrick's side about Drake and his associates, legal and otherwise, than there is the other way around, which is not to say that that's not a thing. I kind of feel like it is, again, based off We Cry Together and some other things. I feel like Mr. Morale was Kendrick dealing with his fallibility as it relates to his public image and the potential of being scorned or ostracized publicly for falling short of the image that he presents. In addition to the city of Atlanta, the state of California, the descendants of all African-American enslaved people, and half of the music industry, Drake then decides to add the victims of abuse at large to his list of new enemies by asserting that Kendrick is completely projecting, and the only reason he's bringing up PDF files is because he was assaulted by an adult as a child. It wasn't the bar he thought it was. It's, again, like that in conversation with the Malaysia Airlines, in conversation with the Bobby and Whitney, in conversation with the slaves. It's like, you're not beating the tone deaf allegations. That's for sure. That's for sure. He also doubles down on the Dave Free being the father of Kendrick's child, which, again, if that is the case, it seems like they must have worked that out internally somehow, because Kendrick left his previous label situation to work with Dave Free on PG Lang as a partnership. They're about to drop a cell phone together, and they basically go everywhere together in public. So, whatever that is, clearly it's been worked out. And it seems unlikely that Drake would find out that one of Kendrick's kids is not his before Kendrick did, or Dave Free. Yeah, that just seems unlikely. But yeah, to be clear, this is Drake pulling off the top shelf liquor. Like, that's also what it feels like. Like, his best rapping feels like top shelf liquor. It's like the elegant packaging, the sleekness, it's supposed to be sexy. It's like high class and refined. But it also feels like a failed approximation of soulfulness, which I think is something you also find in a lot of these dark liquor brands that are top shelf. Where it's like, it's supposed to feel like rich legacy vibes, but it still feels like I'm being sold something. Like, you smell the perfume of the retail store as this thing is being handed to you. So yeah, I don't even, oh my God, bro, I see why people think I look like a woman. Oh shit, this has nothing to do with anything. I just looked at my own face. I was like, I look like a girl.
Honestly, Aubrey could have kept that response. He was waving the white flag and crying on the beat. He tried to say that Kendrick just repeats stuff that he sees on the internet. Aubrey, the call is coming from inside the house, because everything you were saying in there just sounded like stuff you read off Twitter and TikTok. And him saying that he leaked the information and that there was no mole was crazy, because why would you want people to associate your name with being a P word? Why would you even fake something like that about yourself? Like, last night when Kendrick dropped, like, it was so exciting. It was a moment. This new song that Drake dropped, The Heart Part 6, is just so unexciting. Aubrey, you could have kept that.